in 1953 that it was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. And he wanted to give a gift, basically. And he conceived this idea that became Royal Salute. It personified luxury from the very beginning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Discover series with the Whisky Advisor. I'm Uday Balaji. So today we're taking the luxury up a few notches and we're going to be discovering all things Royal Salute with brand ambassador Alan Ironside. Hey Alan, welcome back. Great to see you again.
Hi Uday, absolute pleasure to be back speaking whiskey with you again.
The pleasure is always ours, and I love your background. I think mine needs to be a little festive too, so watch out for that next time, guys. But as always, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you know every time we have a new video on here, guys. So, Alan, what do you have in your glass today?
Well, today, Uday, as you said, we've sort of stepped it up in luxury, and also we're moving. I think the two previous episodes we've talked about Aberlour, we've talked about Longmorn as well, single malt whiskies. We're moving into blends today, and this is the Royal Salute signature, the 21-year-old.
Yeah, that's what I've got as well.
Absolutely, and I think it's has so much heritage. It's synonymous with power and grace, and at the same time, it is an absolute pleasure to enjoy and taste as well.
It's all right. Slanger.
Slanger.
So Alan, you were just saying that Royal Salute is all about luxury, right? And it has signified luxury for many decades right now. Could you just take us back in time and tell us about the origins of the brand and the blend?
Absolutely. So it's about 1952, and we're at a time as well. We've talked about the golden age of whiskey in the past, but we've talked about a time that's actually gone through quite a hard time between then and 1953. But what's happened is we've actually gained a lot of older stock. And this is common across the industry, and people are recognizing this. No less, at the time, our owner, Seagram's president, Sam Bronfman. And essentially, he recognized the potential for older whiskey and aged whiskey and luxury in particular. And he was also a big fan of the royal family as well, the UK royal family in particular. And you'll know as well in 1953 that it was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. So still our queen today. And he wanted to give a gift, basically, and he conceived this idea that became Royal Salute. And from the very inception, whiskey's no less than 21 years of age. So it personified luxury from the very beginning.
It's quite unusual these days to see a bottle like this. Maybe back in the day, you see those older, more simple flagons. But could you tell us a little more about this? And I believe the core range has 3 colors as well. So how does that work?
Absolutely. So we have, right, first of all, I think what's fantastic is the DNA of this goes right back to the very start. You can go online, you can search original bottles of, Royal Salute. And it was a green color, in fact. They actually, Sam Bronfman and Seagram's did a survey of the public, and they found that at the time, green was was synonymous with royalty at this point in time in history. And it's changed colors a few times, and we have a huge selection now. We've gone from the original green to sort of dark brown. We've had red, we've had blue now as well, and this is the color you see today. And the 21, the signature, is this blue, this sapphire. And when we had the collection a few years ago, the 21, the blue was sapphire, the red ruby, of course, and the green emerald. And this was notably the colors of the crown jewels as well. So I'll link to royalty there once again. Nowadays, however, the sapphire is the signature, the 21. We have a black color, which is now the lost blends. So these are whiskies that are no longer with us anymore. Stuff like Caperdonic, for example, and other ones, including Longmorn we talked about last time as well. Then we also have the malts blend, which is, again, unlike a blended whiskey, we're not including grain whiskey in that. So it's simply blended malt whiskies, and that is now the Emerald. So we've got a fantastic range.
Lovely. It seems like, one of those things that collectors would want to have the entire range on their mantle. It'll look really cool.
Absolutely, and also the heritage behind the bottle, in terms of the guys who make this. So this is actually, you'll notice on the bottle, made by Wade. So Wade Pottery themselves are actually hugely significant in terms of heritage, in terms of doing porcelain and pottery, based in Stoke. And for those of you that don't know, Stoke's heritage is pottery. That this is an area of England synonymous with this craft and design. So it's fantastic to have these guys on board to make our flagons, and continue that heritage.
Lovely. You just spoke about heritage, so there's an interesting story for me as well. A few years back, a cousin of mine got married at the Umaid Bhavan Palace in Jodhpur, and it's quite safe to say that over the course of the 2 or 3 days, many bottles of Royal Salute were opened. It was just flowing. But I believe that Royal Salute has quite a connection to the Maharaja and Polo as well, and across the world. Could you tell us a little more about this Polo connection and any other, luxury associations that the brand has?
Well, polo is said to be the sport of kings, and that, of course, kings and royalty just go together. And I believe it was actually in 2007 that the first polo event was held actually in China, but the popularity and the success of this, just absolutely became something that we wanted to be involved in. And in 2009, we had our first event in India, at the palace, and it was a huge success. And this was held in December, and actually our Indian event became part of our annual calendar. So this became, the polo series that was the best polo players from around the world playing across the world, and it was absolutely fantastic to be a part of that. And on that note of heritage and our involvement in it, this has become part of our limited edition series. So we now have the polo edition. And of course the snow polo edition, which is one of the newer ones to come out, just came out last year, which I think's an interesting concept because it is a blended grain whiskey. Now, I think, for numerous reasons, I think everyone out there that is malt connoisseurs, grain whiskey is uncharted territory, I think, for many people, and perhaps has a reputation that it doesn't deserve. Because actually, if we talk about blended whiskey, the grain whiskies are the delicate whiskies that really hold it together, and balance it out. So to create a blend of grains, I suppose the first question is, where is you getting that character from? And this was one of the tasks for Sandy Hislop and his blending team. And for them, it was all about cask selection, making sure they chose the right casks to really let this expression come alive, And a lovely fact I actually learnt just last week, actually, I was in a session with some of the Royal Salute members, and the Polo edition, you'll notice the strength on it is 46.5% strength. And this is to signify the latitude of San Moritz, which is the first place. So this is in Switzerland, the first place to play snow polo. So it's a lovely touch to be able to have that on what is a distinctive bottle. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me. But I can't complain. I've got the 21, but it is a pure white bottle, which is a beautiful concept.
That only when I saw the bottle, I realized that snow polo was a thing. But yeah, finding blended grain whiskies are really hard because I was looking for a few bottles of blended grains for my tastings, but they're very, very hard to come by. So the Snow Polo is definitely one to keep an eye out for. But you did mention some other flagons as well and colors. Could you just take us through the range of Royal Salute, please?
So in terms of the different colours, this is our signature range. We have got the 21-year-old in the blue behind me. I think it's also important to note that the symbol you see is the Robert the Bruce emblem. So Robert the Bruce was one of the kings of Scotland, and this has changed slightly over the years. It first began with the Royal Coat of Arms. Now, on top of that, we have the emerald now, which is the malts blend. We have the black, which is the lost blend. We also have a 32-year-old as well, but we also have the 38-year-old. And I suppose the significance of this is its name, which is the Stone of Destiny. And the Stone of Destiny was the original stone that kings of Scotland were coronated upon. And it got taken down to England hundreds of years ago. It got taken back up to Scotland. One of the most interesting stories is a group of students from Glasgow University in the 1950s, I believe, actually stole the stone from Westminster Palace, took it back up to Scotland, and legend has it they kept it in a local pub, which was called the Arlington. Now, the Arlington's still there, by the way, fantastic little pub to go to, and they've got supposedly the real one, I think most likely a replica perhaps, of the Stone of Destiny in their pub to signify the event that happened. But the Stone of Destiny is synonymous with luxury and also royalty, but also 38-year-old blend, this is a fantastic drink, but also every bottle that you buy of the 38-year-old, you have a ticket that if you take it to Strathisla Distillery, so Strathisla Distillery, one of the core malts in Royal Salute, is also the home of the Royal Salute Vault, which is a caged element of the warehouse at Strathisla that contains the Royal Salute 38-year-old Stone of Destiny in the cask inside of it, and you can get a taste of that if you go there with the ticket you have, having bought the Royal Salute 38. So that's a lovely link there. The other most, I suppose, the peak of our collection here is the 62 gun salute. Now, the 62 gun salute is actually a non-age statement, and the 62 is actually in reference to the 62 gun salute, which only ever happens on the most special of occasions and can only be fired from certain points. And I suppose it's why the gun salute? Why 21 gun salute? Well, the gun salute actually comes from naval practice back in the day. So what they used to do was basically release a charge of 21 rounds from their naval ship as they were coming into port, and the port side would do the same. And this was to signify that they were, coming in peace almost. And then this carried through into royal tradition as well. So and something that's still practiced on special occasions. So very much.
It's interesting because I never really, thought about where that practice came from. Because you always think, okay, it's a kind of, what do you say, an honor to get the salute. So that's really what I always thought it was, but never really thought about the origins. But some time back, we were also speaking about the 50-year-old Royal Salute, and that has quite a storied connection to Mount Everest as well. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Well, that's it. It's actually one of my favorite stories because it's it has adventure in it as well. But yes, Sir Edmund Hillary, when he got to the summit and was the first man along with his Sherpa as well, of course, the two first men to climb Mount Everest. This was 1953, which was the year that Royal Salute began. The coronation occurred, and 50 years later, we have this 50-year-old, and we gave it to Sir Edmund, but we bought it back to be part of our archive for a sum of £30,000, and that money was then donated to a charity in Nepal as well. So it was, I believe that is a real ode to, I think, what royalty is about in the 20th and 21st century. It's perhaps not the way it used to be in terms of, ruling the country, but it's something where philanthropy and generosity comes in terms of how their role around the world is played. And I think this moment was really synonymous with that.
I love that story, and it is so nicely said as well. But guys, I don't think we're going to be able to drink a bottle of 30,000 pound whiskey anytime soon. But we're very lucky to have the 21 in our glass. Could you just take us through a quick tasting of the notes, please, Al?
Absolutely. So on the nose, you get that age. You have that slight that oakiness coming through. It's 21 years, so of course you have that influence, but it's sweet and quite delicate. It's not overpowering. It's not an overpowering whiskey. It's very accessible. And we're going to have a taste of this now, Slange.
Slange.
That's, it's velvet. That's my initial thing. And the first time I tasted Royal Salute, it was a creamy velvetness about it, and that is almost metaphorical of the luxury, and a sharp and sweet note, but it's almost like a marmalade developing on the tongue there. So it's got a lot of feel to it, but at the same time, it's not an overpowering whiskey. It's very well balanced, and this is just testament again to the guys in the blending team that have managed to achieve this. And as always with blends, it's about consistency. As much as they're custodians of taste, they're custodians of consistency. And Sandy Hislop, our master blender, actually managed to taste the 1953 original Royal Salute at one point, not so long ago, and he was able to see the DNA between the first whiskey and what we have today, which I think is exactly what it's all about.
Lovely. That'll be a very interesting tasting to go through as well. To see inevitably the whiskeys do evolve, so it'll definitely be an interesting exercise to do that tasting. But Alan, thank you so much as always for the stories and the lovely whiskey. We're going to look forward to having you back sometime soon. But guys, please take a look in the description. I'm going to be putting Alan's details, although most of you probably already have them, but also the details for Royal Salute, which is the Instagram and the website, and any other details we come by. But Alan, any parting words for us?
Well, other than thanks very much, Uday. So, Slàinte.
Slàinte. So guys, that was a lovely royal episode with some really, really neat stories. I love these old whiskey stories that, can really transport us. And today we went to Mount Everest. Yeah. But guys, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you'll know every time we have a new video on here. But until next time, cheers.